Put it in our budget.
It's got to be battery operated.
It's the most accurate for the first 3-4 years, and after that.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, September 4th. I'll bring the Board of Selectmen's meeting to order, starting with a roll call from my right.
Justin Duraki.
Lon Morgan.
Jim Rolls.
Chip Hussey.
And note that Mr. Sanderson is absent, and we have a quorum, and the meeting is being recorded. Okay, the first order of business is approval of minutes from August 20th. Does anybody have any corrections or amendments that they would like to make? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of Monday, August 20th, 2018, as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Under old business, we have a Copley update.
Okay, what I have today is that I was able to confirm that the Seacoast Cancer Cluster Commission, which is the commission that Jillian Lane represented Greenland on, is meeting actually tomorrow and then not again until Wednesday, October 3rd in Concord. I've reached out to Maria Emery, who was one of the suggestions that Jillian made. She had made two, Liza McGuckin and Maria Emery. Liza suggested Maria would be a better person. So I've reached out to her and I haven't heard back yet if she's interested or available to do it. I also heard from Wendy Stanley Jones, who also lives in that Fallsway neighborhood, and she is currently on the commission, and she also will suggest a name to be added so the board can handle it at the next meeting in time for their October meeting.
Okay, and if they both apply, could we have a primary and a secondary?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
Sounds good.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the library architect's invoice. And I just want to say that I'm going to vote to approve this invoice. However, before I vote to approve another invoice, during the previous meeting, Mr. Sanderson brought up some questions that need to be answered. And I would appreciate hearing the engineer's response to those questions at the next meeting. And I would also like to hear a report on from the library and their progress with the planning board. Does anybody have any?
Are you saying this is before you will approve another invoice? You want that?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Anybody else?
I have a problem with it. Because then if they got stuff to get prepared for the planning board, like, we're kind of open marked. It's kind of a catch-22.
Well, the planning board
At this
meets-
point,
Yeah. And the planning board meets, what, Thursday, I believe, don't they?
Are you guys presenting Thursday? Or
We just did.
We just did. We just met with them last week.
Yeah, and I think,
I would just like to see some progress from the, because when
Well,
I
I
was at
just-
the last planning board meeting, they,
I want you to realize, for the record, the planning board has no say in this. They're only advisory at
I
this point.
understand-
I want to make it
understand that.
absolutely clear it's advisory.
Yep.
And I would not vote to support a motion that would limit them to not get paid, because if I was doing the work, I'd be very nervous about getting paid.
I'm not making that kind of a motion.
Okay.
I'm entertaining a motion to pay this invoice.
Okay.
This is what I would like to hear is,
Well,
And I've talked
it's
to-
always good to get progress, that's for sure. I just don't, I want to realize that I would not support anything that would hold up to me going forward with the planning board, if that's what you're looking at, not.
all right.
I agree. That's not what I'm looking for the record.
So, Craig McLaughlin, we did meet this afternoon with Jim Marchese,
Mhm.
inspector, two representatives from Underwood and one from the architect. We met with him and we went through the plans for septic and drainage.
Mhm.
So we made that progress,
Good.
but we'll give you the update that you want.
Okay. I would appreciate that if you don't have to, as he said, you don't have to. But I would appreciate it if you would let the planning board know that, if you appeared before them on Thursday night and just said, we want to keep you updated, That's just a good thing to do, you know, I mean, and so that they know what's going
Yeah.
on too, all right?
Glad to do that.
That'd be
I
great.
don't think we're on the agenda, but we'll show up.
That's their work session, so it'd actually be the best time.
Okay, so we're glad to do that.
Good.
Marcia McLaughlin, do we have to ask to be put on their agenda, or can we just show up Thursday night since we're not already on it?
I would just let them know that you're coming just to update them,
Okay,
and just check with Charlotte, make sure there isn't 300 other others coming up.
okay.
Okay.
Will do.
And, you know, I will contact some member of the planning board and let them know you plan on coming too.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
For the record, second.
All right, I'll
I don't
entertain
have a motion yet, do I?
I'll entertain a motion.
Oh, you didn't, I'll make the motion then. Move to approve the invoice of, LaBelle
Valley Bresinger.
Architects Professional Services for period of July 1st, 2018 to July 31st, 2018.
Yes, and it's in the amount of $38,081.94.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the next item we have on the agenda is a memorandum of agreement regarding Great Bay Drive West. I've read this memorandum and believe it more than acquiesces to the wishes put forth by the Brackets at a previous meeting held here on May 1st. The sentence the Brackets want crossed out in the third paragraph usurps the authority of the planning board, and I cannot go along with it. So from here, where I stand, if this is signed this week, the road gets built. If not, the money lapses at the end of the year, and the onus will be on the people that reside there. I'm willing to listen to any comments. I know Mr. and Mrs. Brackett are here.
I think one of the things you're looking for, I think perpetuity's been removed.
What?
Perpetuity on the easement.
Perpetuity
Perpetuity on
thing
the
has been
easement.
taken out completely.
Okay, and
And so what we'd do is each year or 2 years when the culvert needs maintenance, we will ask for it each individual time.
okay, that's nice.
Is that good?
Yeah,
And the problem with the driveways is Supreme Court says selectmen can't tell the planning board basically what to do. All we can say is we're giving you 3 accesses and installing 3 accesses into the property.
Okay, our issue with it is the way it is worded, is it can never be used. The way it's worded, even though it doesn't have the word never in it, it says it cannot be used in future development. So now we've taken the best points, where the access is gonna be the best, to enter these properties and future generations.
No, it's not, those
But
can
then
be,
he's gotta write that clearer.
well,
He's got-
because what it's saying is that these access points do not constitute driveways for development purposes. So that the planning board can't turn around and say, the selectmen issued you 3 driveway cuts. They're not driveway cuts, they're access points.
They
That's
call
all.
it, then do that, but.
It does, it says that.
No, but it doesn't. It says it can't be used in the way it's worded.
They can't be considered driveways for
Can I see
development
the copy you
purposes.
have here? Because we don't have that.
Well, this is one that Chip brought down.
No, but we didn't run into Chip.
I thought you talked to her.
I talked to
Oh,
them,
we
but
talked.
I just told them I'm coming after the holidays.
Very nice, Chad.
Chester, you have a comment?
The wording I see, just for clarification, says these access points do not constitute driveways for development purposes.
That doesn't mean that when it's planning board, they can put the driveway where it belongs, anywhere. It can be in the very identical spot. But we can't call it a driveway.
what good are they?
They were to provide, the request that we got was that Allison temporary easement, they had not asked for driveways. They want to be accessed their land without damaging the town road on both sides, where height will increase by 2 feet in some spots. She had asked Underwood Engineering for a gravel ramp, and it would be a town's benefit to have a few inches of tar leading to the gravel ramp, which is construction practice.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Well, we
So
call them
you're gonna-
access points, we can change the word to gravel ramps.
You call it siege ramps for all I care. What we wanna do is if we're going down our road, and you lifted it up 2 or 3 feet, my kids wanna put a house there, I don't want them to, be dealing with something that looks like a dike or something.
Well, one of the points is gonna be between you and the engineer's gonna decide where you want these to be.
Okay.
And usually this works on the state side. If they give you an access point, it's really hard for the state to say, you can't use that as a driveway down the road from a
Right.
state road.
Yeah.
They really have to prove that something majorly changed in the road. The superhighway became 4 lanes. But,
Right, but the selectmen can't issue a driveway.
so what we're looking to do is give you something
That's
that
the
we
planning
can.
board's role.
It gives you ammunition, but we can't override the planning board to the last Supreme Court decision.
Okay. Yeah. What, there's some, I don't know how, but I just feel like I'm being told that if, in 10 years from now, if one of my kids decides to use that point, that specific point, they're gonna be told no. And the thing is, how do I guarantee that's not, I mean,
You
the vote,
can't, and they won't, it's not,
They'll go to the planning board first.
they have to go to the planning board.
right,
You know, nobody's
But
gonna
is it-
say yes or no to that at all right here, or.
Well, one of the reasons are you had the town engineers sit down, and you sat down, you both plotted this. The planning board has to find just cause why it can't go there.
Why can't we get the planning board to sign off on this?
Because you don't have plans.
Right, unless you want to go through the subdivision process right now.
And that's only gonna
But
be.
the planning board
5 years.
can't sign off.
You don't want to do that. Your access point gives you some accesses that an engineer worked with you. 100 years down the road, somebody may disagree that that's probably the best location.
Right.
But reasonably 20, 25 years down the road, I don't see where that's gonna hurt you in any way, shape, or
Well, how
form.
good a job is the town gonna do, on this road, on these access roads? You put culvert or gravel, what? You can do anything, you just.
How
say you
good
can
a
do it?
job?
Yeah, I mean.
Is it
Where
really
we spend-
Design, they're on the plan, what the design is,
Yeah,
so it'll be gravel and packed and,
and I don't
But
like
it-
anything
pay-
done
pay
unless
for
it's
it.
done right. So,
Okay.
it's gonna be done right.
can we have, this sounds weird, because I know I've been there like that. All I've got is, all I've ever been given is this.
right,
Do we have anything
not yet.
that I personally can see?
If you're looking for
I
bigger,
don't know,
bigger scale,
Big chip,
we're looking for something that I can see.
bigger scale,
yeah.
Yeah,
how big do you need?
it's big enough for me to see, I don't know.
Well, that may be
Okay,
some
look,
pretty big plans.
Everybody but him is allowed. I want to know which one of the 4 of you can actually read that thing, other than Chuck.
I totally agree with you.
Oh, because everybody's wearing glasses.
Yeah, okay. Even with their glasses on, they can't see that sucker. I have the
I got one better for you. I have to drop it off the house.
We will blow that up. We'll blow that
It's
up.
in 5 minutes, and figure out what the bay is on that.
We'll blow it up.
We can get you this regular
Thank
full
you,
stack.
I'd like one.
We can do
I
that.
don't need to, we can give it back to you.
We'll give it back to you, but I would like to be able to see it. I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, Karen's gonna blow
We
that up.
we can afford the print things.
I don't think there's
Yeah.
any much bigger ones.
No, there isn't in there, Karen.
I know what she's looking for. I'll tell you, we'll go through that and order that up.
Yeah, blow it up.
Well, wait a minute, didn't the engineer give you something?
Okay, but, I just wanna make this very clear, all right? We need this done, pretty quickly, because our window is closing as far as getting
Yeah, we
that
understand
done.
that, yeah.
So if you, before the end of this week, can get together with Karen and agree with
Look
this
at
whole
those
thing,
plans, because it's, yeah.
then it'll go forward.
One other question we have for your construction group. Where is the construction equipment going to be during
We
construction?
don't know that yet.
Okay, that's part of a construction easement, Karen. The only reason I know this is I have a very good friend who got in this problem with Portsmouth. And I want to know where it's gonna be, and I want a paragraph in here that says it's going, that where the construction equipment is
If it's
also.
going to be on your property, it would be a separate easement.
Right, that's what I'm
So
asking.
then it's not on your property.
Okay, that's all I wanted, yes, thank you.
Does that
I
answer
was
your
gonna tell
question?
them to use Carlton Drive.
Everybody else does. All right. Okay, I want to move this along.
I really would like to
Karen,
meet with the engineer.
Can you,
I can get one in the morning,
okay,
because
yeah,
I've got to contact the engineer.
right, and can he meet us at the property so we can you set that up?
so
I
that
can
we
meet, any morning this week
I can try.
to see if we can meet and be sure we're all on this, he and I are on the same page. Also, I noticed that a lot of the tags have come off the trees, so we're cutting back on the number of trees being taken down.
They probably just came off.
Right, because they were tagged like a year ago.
Yeah, but all of a sudden, it was
I
like
think-
overnight.
But
they
it's,
disappeared.
it's something like degrades, darker the color, the faster it degrades, so probably the last one's pink, which you'll see.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I think he's got a journal with all the trees.
Thank
on it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement as originally written between the brackets and the town upon their signature.
Well, which one are we looking at?
You have, that's the original right there.
We're gonna look at this at home.
Okay, and then
And
if we
then
like it,
we're
we'll
gonna-
sign it.
Yeah, we'll get the engineer, we'll get the,
You wanna see the drawings of the
we'll see the
slopes and all
drawings of it,
those,
those
yeah,
are,
yeah,
and
but
then
yeah.
meet with the engineer.
Now,
Thank you.
you've done half the road, is that?
That's
that
the original,
No, that was the
That's a
repair because of
Band-Aid.
the culvert.
oh,
That was done.
is that coming out?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So well, I want to know how high this thing's gonna be.
That's why we need to have that thing.
Big one.
Yeah, we'll get a float out for you.
Texting the engineer right now.
I know you guys are on the second engineer at that place, right?
No,
Oh, he's back on?
yeah,
Who is it now?
Underwood Engineers.
No,
The actual engineer though,
But we were meeting with a nice guy named Phil McDonald.
Yeah, that's Underwood's.
Yeah, I know, but
Phil's still doing it, because I thought he was on.
Phil is one of the principals of the company. Ben Dreyer is the engineer that's working on
Okay,
the
he
project
got
as
stuck
well.
with us
Oh,
on-
okay, okay.
But no, you're not stuck with that one yet.
No, he did,
He did.
not us, we like him.
Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To approve, if they sign this week.
You guys.
you went up, oh, thank you.
Thanks, Chip.
Okay. All right, the next item is approval of the snow plowing contract. Any, now we know there have been some increases, but I think there are increases, that's first increase since what, 2009?
2009, the labor charge has gone from, the labor charge for the emergency work, the clearing, response to highway insufficiency, clearing hydrants, pothole detection repair, failed to block drainage, response to down unsafe trees went from 35 to 50, and equipment labor went from 35 to 45. And the 12-foot grader went from $100 to $110. All of the other stuff, as far as all the plows and things, are exactly the same rate.
Okay. Any comments, Paul?
No, those are reasonable
Chester?
rates.
Yeah, reasonable rates for sure.
Okay. That look good to you?
Yeah, they're still cheap, in my opinion.
Okay.
I move to approve the snowplow contract and rates as submitted by Jones Snow Plowing Service.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The PDA project. I would like to say in the beginning that I've read what Mark Pouget has written, and I thoroughly endorse both the letter to the PDA and the editorial. So any comments from any of the board?
I reviewed it, I thought it was good.
We are going to wait, I think,
Does the board
until...
wish to sign the letter to send to the PDA?
Is that CC to the elected officials also?
Yep. To the senators, the
Because we've got an election
representatives, the
coming up next
PTA,
year.
counselor, executive director, yep.
And I'm just wondering if we shouldn't wait until after the election to sign that? Because there may be new people.
But when is the
I'm
hearing?
just afraid it's gonna fall on, oh, that's a good question.
My thing is,
Right.
are we gonna miss the hearing?
Okay, yeah, when is the hearing?
They've already had one.
We need to move
think
forward
we
on
need to
this.
move
We need to
forward.
quit postponing
Yeah, okay.
it. I don't want to be part of the 10-year plan, I want to be part of the 2-year plan.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, yeah, because I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I
All
think
right,
you might miss the boat.
All right, so I'll, ask
They
for
might
a
be trying to
motion.
rush in.
I will ask for a
Same.
motion to approve and sign the letter drafted by Mark Bouget.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I would move that we'd like to approve the contract with Vanessa and Associates. That's for the traffic study. I think we need to move forward with this.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to drag our feet.
Right.
I think if we drag our feet, we're gonna be run behind another year. I know, for example, Paul wants to get on a 10-year, 20-year plan. We aren't even a blip on the radar on those.
Right. And the
We
planning,
We need to get, so the fact I'm not looking at traffic like today backed up to Stratham Hill Park.
Yes. No, and Paul agrees with that, I think, too, but, you know.
And I think they got a problem, not just with Greenland, but I noticed when I was off, PDA's got some major traffic issues they need to address too, to get them into the base.
Yeah.
So this isn't something they're not aware of, they just only want to deal with their problem, and we got to deal with ours too.
the planning board has approved the Vanessa
Yeah. That's already been approved,
traffic
yeah.
thing, yes.
So we don't need a motion.
Oh, this is the planning board's thing?
Yes.
Comes out of that? Okay, I thought it was us,
No.
my mistake.
So that's
Okay,
good.
under other old business, I just want to update the board on the fire department committee building meeting that we held last Thursday. The committee is composed of Don Miller, Leonard Schwab, Paul Sanderson, Kevin Forrest, and Dennis Malloy. We organized the meeting and nominated Ralph Presta chair and Paul Sanderson vice. The chair will not vote unless there is a tie. And we're doing this to expedite this process because we would like to get a warrant prepared for the Marchtown vote. We basically discussed geotech preparation and long-term goals. The minutes will be published as are our other public meetings, so you'll be able to see the minutes published. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 12th at 7 p.m. here at the Town Hall in a room to be determined at that particular time. It's going to be the same time as the
I think we're gonna try to do our meeting, all we gotta do is approve the budget.
That'd be good, that'd be excellent. Okay, so again, the meeting is public and the public is encouraged to come. Is there anybody else that has any other old business?
I got one more thing on the
Go ahead.
regional impacts.
Yep.
Mark's still checking on attorneys. The last one he checked with is unable to because of conflicts, so he's got one more he's just put in for,
What is this on?
finding an attorney.
Well, we found one.
Oh, I did find
We
one.
found one, yes.
I didn't get briefed on that today.
Yeah, you did.
That's good.
And
That's
it's-
actually
it's a
good,
branch-
because it
Let me see if
wasn't
I get
looking
his
good.
name.
it's a branch
He said
of the
hopefully
union,
this
but
one
there's no
sticks.
conflict.
Good. All right, because that was
Thursday.
Thursday I
Yeah,
talked to him.
Thursday he got one.
Thursday morning I talked to him, and then, so he did get confirmation. Good.
Thanks, Greg. His name is Gregory Michael of Council of Bernstein Sure.
What time of the committee meeting?
7 o'clock. And if they're gonna get done early, we'll wait till.
Yeah, sure, I haven't talked to Laurie yet, I just found out about it today, so I'll call and see if we can't pull it.
We discussed last meeting, Ralph was going to talk with Bluebird about the
Oh, library
storage
storage.
space.
Right,
What happened there?
don't know. I'll check with them.
They are, Marcia, they are open. I did talk to him for the library. Come on over, he said.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time to talk to them,
Mhm.
Jim. When you're first adult in town, you like to be town friendly, so it's a good time to do that.
Okay. This is some really old business. One of the things, when I was liaison with Paul, we had some jobs that haven't got done, and I want to bring them to the forefront. because I know until the leaves fall, it's easier for them to get them done. And, actually, I can't see that. One of them was the back door. We need to paint the lower section of this back door out here for the town office.
All right,
That's right, it's rust there.
is that all right?
Okay. And I just noticed a handicap.
I noticed that the other day too.
Now, question, do you have a brush with one of the photo things, or do you want to use mine?
Do I have a brush with
To get rid of the rust real quick.
I don't have anything.
All right, you'll have
I
it.
buy as needed.
You'll have it.
But you talking like a
Same
white brush that goes on
you
a
burn it
grill?
up, you replace it. Shouldn't, it's not that much to do, no sense in buying one. Remember the lights at the recycle center, the guys asked me about those, where that stood, and in the recycling bin, so they could see what's going in there
Yeah.
early in the morning and late at night.
Yeah,
I talked to Maldini, and it's under $500, so I think really we should go ahead of that at $400 on.
well, I bought a couple of those battery operated ones, you just press it.
Yeah,
Light,
that,
yeah, I mean, you're only looking at 4 weeks a year. 4 weeks of the year, that's it.
And those work, the ones that you have there?
Yeah,
they're complaining, so go check with them again. And, as I said, you know what,
Because I put them in the electronics place too, and they seem to be happy with that.
yeah, I'm just looking at, they get crushed sometimes at the, recycle center, the brighter the light, $400 difference would pay for it. And basically
You
went
get
down.
crushed. Oh,
Oh,
okay, when you say crushed, use
I'm sorry,
I'm
crushing,
thinking
they
something
crush.
bad.
All right?
Okay.
They crush with people and they crush and they crush and they.
Well, what you
I'm
said
trying to look
crush.
quick.
I was thinking
That would
something
be the
bad.
biggest workers' comp.
But no, it's just that
All right, just, you'll double check.
to move faster, they'd like to have some lights up there.
Yep.
And it's under that. Trimming the trees along our little gateway to Greenland, that cost us $1 million. Those small trees, they haven't been trimmed since they were in. They're beginning to look a little shabby.
They're all shabby.
We can trim them.
Yeah.
Now you got 2 people. And the other thing is, the guys asked me about the signs of the dump, and I agree. Throwing over the ones that are thrown over the sides, they don't want to throw them over the sides because people climb in there and they get hit. And
You gotta explain what you're talking about here, you lost.
over the construction dumpster
Yeah?
and the metal, they want something that says, go to the front, go to the door to dump your metal or dump your construction
Oh,
material.
all right.
Because I guess they just had somebody get hit again.
All right. That's something we gotta have custom made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the no dump picking signs, I noticed that never been done, and that's something we decided a long time ago.
I thought we lifted that.
We never lifted that.
Thought we lifted,
Because people signed,
yeah, I thought.
The
we-
waivers don't mean anything, and I'll make
No, but I
it.
did think I think we.
Okay.
lifted though. I don't believe-
when we put no
This
picking,
was before you came on.
we had waivers signed up for people that could
No,
do
the
it.
waivers don't stand up in court. We said insurance policies with workers' comp and liability insurance. That's the only way they can go in there. Because I don't want the town being liable any way, shape, or
All
form.
right, this is the first, because the last time we had waivers for people to sign.
Now, that was a long time ago. but-
Well, we haven't had anything brought up about this.
No, I haven't seen any problems, the guys haven't allowed it, so. I wanna make sure that gets, no dump picking, and that's definitely, unless you want, I'll make another motion, I have no problem with that, but
Yeah, go ahead.
I move that there's no dump picking at the town transfer station. Too many years of calling it to dump. Unless they have $1 million liability policy and workers' comp. And in accordance with the state of New Hampshire regulations.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
I don't have enough information on what we've been doing.
It only takes one person to get hurt.
Well, I understand that, but,
You want
That's
some
all there
time
is.
to think about it?
no,
Research it?
it's 3-1,
I didn't
so
say anything, I'm supposed to be a tiebreaker.
break the tie, I abstain.
Well, I'll give you a little time to think about it. we'll bring it up to the next meeting. Will you put that on the agenda?
So
for
it's
next meeting?
2 abstain?
Yeah.
Because either that or we have to
I don't think
withdraw.
it's a bad idea, Chip, on there, but.
No, it's just,
All right, what's the big thing to think about, though,
Yeah.
really?
Well,
I'm a dump picker since I was a little kid. I hate to vote against that because I like to recycle, and I like to
yeah, well, this is
things.
my thought too.
The liability is too much. Somebody
Well,
comes in there.
can they ask one of the guys to fish something over?
Yeah,
if they
That's
see-
not what,
Okay.
that's not what we're paying those guys
Here's
to
a
do.
question.
Well, I mean.
You just brought up one point, to go through the back door to bring your stuff in there. They're already in there.
once they reach down and pick something, somebody comes along and throws something over the top, hits them in the head, what happens?
No,
Well, that's,
what I'm saying is, okay, you want everybody to go through the back door into these compactors.
well, that's what the
Not
guys.
compactors, but the
That's
units.
what the guy, yeah, the units. that's what
Okay,
they tell
so
me.
they're in there and they see, they're already inside of there.
Somebody throws something.
What do you mean,
Yeah,
no?
this is two different things we're talking about. We're not talking about, we know people are in there dumping their
No,
stuff.
there's no
and
dump
it's
picking,
a hazard.
unless you got the liability. 'cause
I'm
you
not
reach-
talking about picking.
Hold on, hold
all right.
on. We're talking about picking, hold on.
Stop now.
What are you talking about?
Hey, all right. Look, we're gonna table this till the next meeting,
All right.
period. All right?
Sounds good.
I don't understand where you're going with it.
All right, moving it right along.
No, I'd like clarification on this, because I think I agree
I think
with
so.
Paul. We're having people go into that container to drop stuff off. If somebody comes up by and throws something in, they're gonna be hurt.
Well, he wants us to put up signs, no throwing over.
Right.
He wants you to use the back door.
Everybody-
And I was saying, but you're not, don't touch nothing that's in there, but you're going in there anyways.
You're dropping your stuff.
I think the difference may be, you're not climbing through and over stuff to throw your stuff out. You're walking into where the stuff's already,
Right,
to
but
the trash line, if you will. You're not climbing to the front of the dumpster to find something you really need. You know, like a wheel for
Right, but
dishwasher,
if
like
that-
on there, up there, and it's saving the
But
whole
say,
place, everything.
say you go in there and there's just a little bit in there and you see something to fix at your house, you're already in there.
Liability insurance, workers' comp.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, you have them go in there to drop stuff off,
If you-
but don't bring nothing out with
If
you.
you post it, you
No,
have it,
I-
at least.
I have no problem either way.
Yeah, I don't, if they reach down and get it and they cut their hand, the biggest problem is gonna be an infection. That's what the town's gonna end up paying some money. That's all it's.
It's a safety thing for me.
Would you like to say something, Mike?
It's really interesting, and I don't see the issue. It's no picking. You put your stuff in, you walk out.
There
You don't understand some people.
there is a
It's a
core
battle.
of Greenland pickers.
Okay.
All right, you know, a lot of good points over there. Let's put this on the agenda for next meeting. All right, review of town administrator's report. Is there new business?
All right, the audit for 2017 has been completed. We've received the draft. I've reviewed the draft and it looks good. Optima Bank is requesting a copy of the application, of the audit, so they can complete the bond. So the draft has been sent up to them at this point, and they said that that will be helpful. The governance letter will be coming back for the board to review and sign for the next meeting. What you have in the packet this time is the management discussion and analysis, which we'll get to. It's the next point, which is what I write and put the numbers together from the audit to show management's take on the whole audit. It summarizes the audit in like a 4-page document. So that's been completed and that's in there for your review. 2 bids were received for the line striping, and when I wrote this, it said will be reviewed by the property maintenance supervisor. It has been reviewed, been awarded. The apparent low bidder has recently done work for us as well. He's local, very excited to get started. The conservation intern, Josh Churchill, has left for college. He was invaluable to the Conservation Commission this year with the inventory of all of the conservation lands and inspection to determine where trash has been dumped, where there's invasive species. He did an excellent job photographing all of our properties. He had time left, so he continued doing work for me, basically reviewing all of the town catch basins and outfalls for the MS4 permit, taking pictures of all those and documenting the dry weather conditions. We have to document dry and wet weather.
Mhm.
So he's documented the dry weather conditions for me. He is going to let us know what his availability is because we had budgeted and approved like 120 hours and he's only used like 47.
Okay.
He was much, much faster than we anticipated.
Great.
Yeah, he did a fabulous job. Hillside Avenue drainage, last Thursday I met with the claims adjuster for Primex that's working on the flooding claim. He reviewed all of the contracts associated with the work that was done, particularly looking at the work that was done in 2015 by Busby to see if their contract specifically said they were to block that one specific catch basin and whether or not that was in their contract, but they just didn't do it. So they're digging deeper into that part. The homeowner asked if the town was going to pay, or the insurance company was going to pay, and he told him, I really doubt it. He said, Mother Nature does this kind of thing all the time. The town has worked diligently on your behalf, so he doesn't feel that there's liability for the town at this point, but he is looking at the Busby contract. For building maintenance, we had the carpets cleaned like we do on the annual basis 2 weeks ago now, on the 23rd. And you can look at the carpet and see that we are, even though they're clean, you can still see a lot of wear paths. There's some carpeting that is probably not going to make it through another year, that we're going to need to replace it. We have duct tape at 3 or 4 locations now holding seams down.
Okay,
So if we seriously have to look at replacing the carpet in here.
so you're gonna get some prices on that?
We are, and we did it a few years ago and it was above the budget that we couldn't do it, so we may have to phase it, but we are gonna look at that again.
Okay.
The town sign in front of the office, the message lines, them are not working anymore. One side we can still get some words on, the other side we can't. The brackets have all come off, they've been repaired a couple of times, they won't stay on anymore. So we had budgeted this year $5,000 in the budget under town maintenance or building maintenance to replace that sign. Charlotte and I discussed having the possibility of having an LED sign there with the 2 lines that could be changed remotely. And so we looked at that. We have 2 more prices coming in, but the first price came in over $28,000.
Okay.
So it's not what we have budgeted this year. What I really wanted to do is get a sense of the board on the concept of having the LED lights or just move forward with a similar sign like we currently have.
Number one, I like the LED thing. It's easier rather than trudging through snow and everything else to change things. You can put a lot more things on the sign. I think the townspeople will be more aware of what's going on in the town as far as meetings go and that type of thing. So I'd like to, move forward with that, see if we can get some other prices. I thought $5,000 was way too low right in the beginning.
Well, that's all we paid for the current sign out there.
Yeah,
And that's all we were looking initially to do is replace that sign.
yeah.
And so this is just a different concept, and Charlotte's been working hard on it. We have 2 more prices coming in. But before we do too much, I really wanted kind of a consensus. Is LED okay?
Sure.
Karen, is there a limit how much wording you can put on one of those signs?
Mm-hmm. It's the sign, we're limited by the sign ordinance as far as size. So
No,
we-
I mean the ratings.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are exempt, but we have maintained the exact size that's allowed by the town in the same format that it's out there right now. The LED section is the same size as those 2 lines that we have now.
Mhm.
The key is that it can be changed every day.
Yeah.
It's not movable, it's not the ones that are going to be like scrolling, anything that would be considered distracting for driving. Once a day, they can be changed, and it can be a different message on either side, like we have now.
Okay. Chester, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to see some more prices. but,
Yep.
I mean, that's the way to go.
When I saw the 28, I wanted to see some more prices too.
Oh, definitely,
But I told Charlotte, I said, if it comes under 15, you're gonna be surprised. I don't think you see anything lower than that.
right, okay, but I didn't want her to spend a lot more effort if LED was like
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
And then Great Bay Drive West, we've discussed that already today.
Yep. Okay.
One.
Yes,
I spoke with Chuck today. Hillside Drive,
Okay,
and I spoke to him about the last 2 heavy rains we got since we did the clean out. No water in his house at this point.
Okay. Good. All right, management analysis report.
yeah. So attached is that, what I referred to a few minutes ago, the 2017 MD&A. Basically, it outlines what the town has done, what's happened over the years, over the 16 to 17. The key would be is the budgetary highlights that during the year, the original budget for appropriations did not change, which it seldom does, that you have to go to town meeting. The revenue estimates were adjusted in September of 17. We underexpended the total budget by $57,534. And this resulted from an extremely hard winter and restricting the spending in many accounts to balance the budget. Public Works was overexpended by $218,196, so general government had to conserve $251,544. So a lot of the building maintenance, a lot of the things that were considered didn't happen. The one benefit we did have was that we did have an employee leave and we had a gap with a new one. So we were able to save in health insurance at the same time. And that was a huge help. We ended the unassigned budget year, the unassigned unassigned fund balance, so I have that word wrong there, was $2.279 million. During town meeting in March, we voted to use $425 for deposits into capital reserve funds, and we used $85,000 to reduce the tax rate. So that brought, and then revenues that were came in less than estimated by $146,000, and the unexpended balance of the budget was $204 for a total increase of $57,534. We have put aside $31,062 for property taxes not collected at year end, those that were 60 days off year end, plus some abatements. And so the fund balance increase from 17 going into 18 for tax rate setting increased by $26,000. This is the tightest budget year.
Okay, so we have an unreserved fund balance of 1.6?
1.6 million.
Okay, all right.
But
Which
this
good.
is a very, very tight budget
Yeah.
because it was a very bad winter.
Good comments.
The only increases in assets we had was equipment, which was the truck with plow and sander, the loader, and the ATV. Are the only assets we added.
All right. Any questions? Gentlemen? Okay, move on to the
Can we
hiring.
motion to approve the MD&A?
The what?
Can we motion to approve the MD&A?
Sorry about
I
that.
move to
That's
approve the minutes of
okay.
discussion
I
and
worked
analysis
hard on
before
it.
submitted.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, the next is the hiring of seasonal help. And before we move on to this topic, I'd like to touch on the right to know law, right? We temporarily hired this gentleman on an emergency basis. Our maintenance supervisor lost his health at a critical time and was fortunately able to come up with a replacement worker, but it was about a week and a half prior to this particular meeting. And so he asked his liaison for permission to hire temporarily. I just want you to know that the proper procedure, I want to make this clear, for a situation like this would be to contact the town administrator,
I'm sorry.
who then would contact,
What are we making clear?
excuse me, let me finish and then, all right? So the proper procedure for this would be to contact the town administrator, who would then contact the rest of the board. We as selectmen cannot electronically contact a quorum of the board to discuss town matters unless it is done publicly. So I just want to make that very, very clear, all right? So this way, the whole board is sure to be notified of the issue, all right?
Yep.
So,
When I received the text message from Mr. Sanderson asking for my thoughts, I said, I don't have a problem with that. In retrospect, I should have said, you can't do that. Let's meet tomorrow morning in an emergency meeting if it was that critical. And that, I will take responsibility. I should have said,
Well,
Mr. Sanders said no.
You know, you know, everybody makes mistakes. The last
Right,
person
well, and-
that didn't make a mistake was nailed to a cross, and there hasn't been anybody
Right.
since, so.
And it's difficult for
Not
me to
sure about
contradict
that.
the selectmen.
Just make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
What
I can't
text
tell
are
my
we talking
bosses
about?
no.
Because I wasn't included in any text. I'd like that for the record. I was not in the loop on this at all.
Right.
And who else was in the loop? Who was in it and who was not? And who originated it?
To my knowledge, Jim, myself, and Karen.
Via text, Jim? You were texted?
I didn't get a text.
You didn't
Okay,
get it.
I
Chip?
did get a text. You said-
Chip, did you get a text?
I thought,
No, it was you and Chip, to my understanding, that didn't get the
Okay.
text.
The
Is
text
there a
was,
reason for that?
That's what I'm trying to.
the text was originated from Paul
I'm very
Sanderson.
unhappy with this whole
I
thing.
know, I understand, take it
It's
easy.
not
but
the
we'll
first time
resolve
this has
it.
happened.
The world isn't coming to an end.
It's not the first time this has happened. I
Well,
hope it is
I
the
don't
last.
know if it's, to my knowledge, it hasn't happened
Actually,
before.
let's slow this down, because at first I was upset. Secondly, I was disgusted, now I'm disappointed. This is the second
That
time
sums it up for me as well.
a non-emergency is used in this case where 2 selectmen were not even notified. I will say this, I'm going to let it slide one more time. Do not let it happen again. Because this was not an emergency. The first time we hired someone for Paul, he was 4 weeks behind, 4 or 6 weeks behind. He was swamped. It was a growing season. But this I saw as no emergency. The other one was no emergency, and that's still within my term. I don't want to see another one, okay? We want good communication. I've always said there has been some poor communication in the town. And this is a prime example because it came down from the top and we got to stop it. It's only fair for everybody. And all it does is upset people. And I don't need to be upset with something stupid. I'm looking for something a little more important.
Okay,
Well said.
all right. So, your comments are noted, all right?
I'm not quite done.
Oh,
I would
okay.
like to say, I'd like to touch on transparency in government. Openness, accountability, and honesty define government transparency. A free society, transparency is government's obligation to share information with citizens. This is at the heart of how citizens hold their public officials accountable. This board is not transparent with itself. How is it going to be transparent with the townspeople? It's not. The communication is horrible. It's backdoor. It's Sunday afternoon. Not full board included. When the last kid was hired, there was an emergency meeting. I was here for it, so the kid was hired the right way. So this is, I also have a problem with, it should have went out. Other people in the world should have been able to apply for this job. It seems like to me, this seems like a backdoor deal. And why was it such an emergency? Did we not know this, the other guy was gonna leave? Did he quit at 12 o'clock and leave and no? Did he give any notice? Does anybody?
yeah.
He did. How long? A week. So we had a week to talk about this first. That we need to hire somebody, and we may need an emergency meeting and do it the proper way. That's it.
Okay,
I'm disgusted.
okay.
And also for the record, I'd like to bring back a videotape for all meetings. I'd like that to be brought up with the public. It's almost 2019. The audio, we all talk over each other, people can't hear it. The written is only as good as you can hear. I don't want to be on television, I don't want to be on television, but we need some accountability,
Okay,
some
so you'd have to
transparency.
put that on the warrant article.
That's what I plan to do.
Okay. All right. All right.
And then,
Anybody else have any comments?
I was done when I finished.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, I just don't see this as, I see it as just a lapse in judgment maybe, but,
how many times is it gonna happen?
well, I don't know. I mean, it's, if it was something really,
I'd be willing to
To
bet it.
me, what it is doesn't matter. We should follow the protocol that's set, period.
well,
Period. And if you don't, you should be held accountable for it.
let's have a public flogging.
I'm down.
Do I got to buy it with it?
Okay. Is there any other comments anybody would like to make? Good. All right.
Did we ratify it?
Huh?
Yeah, no, we haven't voted yet.
I know,
Is what?
we need to have a
Yeah,
motion.
okay, so let's move on to the motion. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the hiring of Matt Gobby. Anybody want to make a motion?
Is this perhaps the time that, to post it, to see if there's somebody else? Or is it been,
I'll be honest, I don't have a problem hiring this kid. I just didn't like the way it was done, that's all. And as I
We
said,
understand that, okay.
And then-
We've already gone
so-
through that. But I'm just, I'd like to have either a motion or not a motion.
It's a seasonal position that expires in November.
all right, I'll make the motion to hire him.
Do I have a second? Then I will second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
What
for
do
the
you
record, I'm just protesting. I'm stating, I just not happy with it.
All right, the ayes have it then.
I'm not mad about it, I'm just not happy with it. And as I'm gonna say, don't let it happen again. Okay, guys, that's fair.
Okay.
But
All right, let's see. Now we have addition to the names on the Vets Monument, right?
Selectman Ralston had requested the following names be inscribed on the Veterans Monument so we can do this prior to Veterans Day. Donald Brackett Jr., Paul J. Cochran, with a star, he was killed in action. Paul M. Dovich Jr., Daniel A. Demers, Mike J. Toth, who has already been approved by the board in 16, and Andrew M. Poulin was approved by the board in 16. I have the paperwork for in your packets you had the paperwork from Mr. Dovich and Mr. Demers.
so we don't have, what paperwork are we looking for? What's the requirement?
The DD 214 would show that they lived in Greenland upon entrance into the military and that they were honorably discharged.
Right.
I'm gonna make the motion then, with the receipt of the DD 214.
Have you received DD 214s on all of these?
I do not have the paperwork yet for Mr. Brackett or Mr. Cochran.
All right, we need DD 214.
Well, you're not gonna get one for Paul Cochran, he got killed over there.
Do we have any verification?
He lived at the end of Tuttle Lane, he went to high school with me. He spent the last night of his life in Greenland at my house.
Yeah, and I'm not doubting you, it just is that, you know,
I don't
future
know,
boards, we really need to have some kind of
well,
documentation.
we're going back 51 years.
I know.
And I was in high school.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I understand what you're saying, I'm just telling you that
This
that's not
is
gonna
something-
happen.
There's some Kevin Forrest maybe best to contact to see if he can, but I'll change that to
I will.
appropriate documentation.
Yeah, I don't
I don't know what the numbers are, don't have a clue, hope I never have to know what that number is.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I don't doubt, I believe me, I believe you. It just is that going forward, you know, when this board's done, we need to have a certain set of rules that apply to this.
Johnny Brackett lives out in Missouri, but he lived on Post Road from
That's good.
way back when.
When did he leave? That name sounds familiar, I don't know if that's just from,
After high school, he went and, his younger brother just died of a heart attack about 3 years ago.
maybe that's what I've heard. But continue the motion, move to approve the names of Donald Brackett, Jr., Paul J. Cochran, with a star, killed in action, Paul M. Dovich Jr., Daniel A. Demers, Mike J. Troff, and Andrew M. Poulin to be inscribed in the monument in Remembrance Park to honor those residents who served in our country. Town administrators authorize the arrangement of names to be inscribed with
With receipt of appropriate
appropriate
documentation.
document. That work for everybody?
Yeah.
Second.
I'm surprised.
I have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And can you check the spelling that I have for Mr. Cochran, and I might be able to find some
Yeah, I'll have to
documentation too.
speak with Kevin, he printed out the, because I didn't even know he got killed until just last year, or this year.
Okay. All right, does anybody else have any other new business they'd like to discuss?
It's actually old business. Rec committee, did they let you know what they want to do as far as getting help to run the rec? Because in the budget period about getting in someone to do that organizational stuff?
They have not, there's a meeting tomorrow night that's been postponed until September 12th, so.
They really gotta get their act together because I can't, you know, we get to December, it ain't gonna work.
They
As far
understand
as
that.
budgetary stuff, okay.
They understand that.
And Paul, how are we doing on the rec buildings? Don't even remember right now where we stand.
I got hold of Peter, one of the guys that gave the bid, and you wanted to clarify how he wrote it up.
Yeah.
And I did get hold of him and explain to him, he kind of confused you how he worded it, if he could make up a different bid to be more clear on his pricing. And he said he'd get on that.
Oh, by the way, the pothole, we've been chasing around on, what's with
Did you
that?
get an answer from the water
Of course I
department?
didn't. I've talked to him 3 times though. I just thought I'd let you know that.
Well, same thing, I've talked to him, different people, and
That's why I get a name, because now he knows I'm haunting him. If I show up at the shop tomorrow, he might be a little surprised.
Okay, any other new business anybody would like to discuss? I'll bring up one item. The building inspector has presented us with a letter that he's going to be sending out to anybody with a pool that doesn't have a 5-foot fence around it. I was on that list, by the way. So I had to correct it, which I did right away. But nonetheless, he is going to be sending letters out to people. This is a state regulation, this isn't a town regulation, so I just want to make note of that in the minutes. Okay?
And we have the list if anyone wants to check to see if their pool is okay.
Don't have one.
Okay?
I swim in other people's.
All right, accounts payable manifest.
I move we approve the attached manifest of unpaid bills detailed as of September 6, 2018 in the amount of $746,132.10. The Greenland School District payment of $435,000 for the 2018-2019 school year is included in this manifest.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I move we approve the attached payroll number 18, paid date September 6, 2018, period August 20th, 2018 through and including September 2nd, 2018. Gross amount excluding payroll liabilities, $50,805.75.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Anything else to come before this honorable board?
Well, there's one more thing. Yeah. I'd like to move that Karen send the chairman, actually send the planning board, a email asking them to assign a CIP committee. And we need to basically get going. And so they can assign somebody to distribute the information out.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
It's not a motion, but that's
Yeah, right,
directive, that's
right,
fine.
yeah, okay, yeah. Anything else? Yes, Randy.
Yes, Randy Banal, McIntosh Way. I'm here as the school board budget representative. So I know we're in the budget season, and I wanted to ask the selectmen to think about your representative to the budget committee, because I felt last year was very contentious and not thoughtful when it was coming down to cut the budget from a bottom line perspective. So I'm all for fiscal responsibility, but I think let's put some thought behind how you propose to make potential cuts or even help us. So listen, I think it's really, this is my 5th year on the budget committee, my first year actually being the representative from the school board. I want to make sure we work collaboratively. I'm all for fiscal responsibility, folks. We've got a lot going on in this town. I know that. You have a budget. We have a budget. The library has a budget now, right? So let's work together. So I want you to, like you guys to consider who you appoint to that budget committee.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. But as usual.
Nobody object.
Quiet today?
Yeah, how's it going? I open my big mouth, I'm gonna get in trouble.
You're on the pool list.
So I'm on the bad list?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, 5 foot fence. 5 foot fence.
Can you
I have a
fix
deck, I
it?
have a deck around it, so
But can,
there's a deck with a fence.
what about the other side? The deck all the way around?
It's not all the way around the pool, but it is an above ground pool, so it's 4 feet.
Someone can, I will look at 4 feet on the side. Get it fenced in. It's the state law. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll see if I can endeavor to get that check to you, before. But trust me, you will have the check.
It's in the mail? Oh, no.
Check's out.